All right, Cyber Traders, welcome on back here this Tuesday, August 30th. Great to see John, great to see Abdallah, and all of our trial and VIP pass members. Great to see Charles here as well, and all of our students included inside the live trading room. Let's get a quick sound check just to begin. Make sure I'm loud and clear there. I should be good to go on social media. Perfect. All right, so with that in mind, folks, we have a lot to dig into here this afternoon. Start off with the market first. You could see the SPY kind of making a lower high, beginning to slump back down at this point. It wouldn't shock me to see continuation here, at least into the close. Maybe at the end of this week, we'll see a bit of short covering, a squeeze back up there. But, I think long term, we're going to continue to see a drop off here within the market. So we'll see what the SPY and the markets bring us, at least heading into this afternoon. We have the INAB stock, at least on the screen to begin. It's up over 43%. So, as much as we are taking some great shorts from the market open, this is a perfect day, a perfect example to show how, hey, not every stock drops with the market, not just to say that, but there could be some really good trade opportunities, at least throughout points of the day. Normally right now, 2:15 Eastern time, not normally the best time to be actively trading, but the INEB stock we've had on our radar beginning from pre-market. When the market opened up, this thing ended up lifting off pretty nicely, pretty effortlessly at that. It took a little while to move off 250 at least, but once it cleared 250, off and running, she really went. False breakout, the first test of 3. Later on, 3 ended up becoming a nice breakout level, but ended up running out of steam from that point. So, normally around 10:30 Eastern time, that's more or less 10:30. That's where you expect reversals within the market for stocks that made these big extravagant moves up, for them to pull back. So with that, this ended up tiring out throughout most of the late morning, early afternoon. But man, this thing coming back to life right now. Ended up just breaking out off of like 270, 272. Ended up finally breaking back over the VWAP right off of 283, 284, making the push back up to 3. So there could still be some life left on this trade here. The INAB stock, I know John, one of our longtime students inside our live trading room, he got about 24, 23 cents. I don't want to shortchange him there. He had a nice catch from 257. But with that in mind, at least for right now, we'll put this on our radar, our watch list at least. 18,000 share iceberg on the ask right off of 3, and then also above 3 at 306. You got about 14, 15,000 sitting there as well. So it's the combination of those two prices that I would expect to be resistance here on this trade. Now, the INAB is just one of 2 that are moving pretty nicely here for us that were actually both on our morning watch list. The MGAM, I've been watching this at least across, the early to mid-afternoon. I know John was watching the INAB, and I was following this at least off of the 375 price. That's not charted on this screen here, but I was watching 375 as well, at least from the morning. And I know this could be easy to say, but, ended up popping above resistance. And then right here, I was looking for the little dip to support. I was hawking it. I ended up jumping in right off 376. It led to a huge squeeze. I'm actually still in on a quarter leg of my first position on this trade, or at least on this position. So, I hope to see it squeeze up, but I'll tell you what, you do coaching with me. If you're talking to me throughout the day inside the live trading room, I'm going to give you a couple tips. I wrote them inside the trading room in the main chat, but I ended up private chatting a couple of our students here that I was talking to earlier today through private chat. Mark, Lori, a couple of us. I was saying, hey, look for 4 to 405. The combination of those two to be support here coming up the first test. Couldn't have worked out any better. Ended up dropping under 405, pushed right back above 405, and right now it's trying to run up from there. I mean, I didn't jump in right from that price or to add to my position. I wanted to, but it's hard for me to juggle everything with setting up this broadcast, the meetings, and I got to be timely here. So I didn't re-add shares here. I'm in 500 shares left from 376. Hopefully for my trade's sake, and if anyone jumped in right from that 4405 area, hopefully this runs up right now. The MGAM, it's an IPO from like a month ago, or from the beginning of this month rather, that ended up making this big move from, I think it was 450 all the way up towards like 20. And it's right back up towards that 450 price here. So, I even wrote that inside the trading room earlier today, just one of the, call outs from earlier this morning. I reposted it in the afternoon. I said 450 is the IPO open price, should be very strong here too. I was chatting with Mark just earlier, who had mentioned about 4405 as support. And he was asking even like, hey, looking for a false breakout at the 50 cent level, Josh? I said, likely, yeah. just because of that, IPO open price. That ended up actually happening a lot sooner than I was expecting. So I was like reading the chat. I took one look back at the screen. I'm like, oh crap, that already popped 450 and came right back down. It was like just within that one bar. So pretty funny circumstance there. But yeah, hopefully there's more legs on this MGAM stock here for us. Now, there's a couple more that we ended up trading from the morning session, folks, but just to be efficient with time here, we'll go from top to bottom now. We'll skip any of the real cheapies that are below $1. So, MBEV, technically the top percent gainer, up over 74%. But not a whole lot happening now, I'd imagine. The FRGE trade, look at this. It's trying to make another push back up right now as I look to take a sip of my water. Ended up making a nice pop from this morning. I think this got halted on the way down, no? Got halted on the way down. You can tell based off this gap. So, normally when a stock gets halted on the way down, normally that's a wrap. That's game over for the trade. Hey, it ended up making another squeeze, like random, spike up. Came all the way back down. One more squeak up here, but I'm not too confident in continuation across the afternoon just yet. Hey, if this FRGE trade pops as we're doing this meeting, you folks inside the live trading room, you let me know. But, otherwise I'll pass on this trade here. I feel like it's trading a lot of volume across the day for it to not be near the highs at this point. There we go. Water break. We'll keep it going here. I shouldn't have clicked on TUEM. I was just looking to skip over the cheapies here. Skip over that. We had the pets trade from before. Same to be said on this as we talked about just a moment ago on the FRGE trade. We're more familiar with pets. The stock ended up making a nice squeeze for us back over the last month or so, up and down. For right now, though, for as much volume as it's traded today, I feel like it's more exhausted here. So, again, if it pops during this meeting, let me know, but we'll keep going. All right, hour, we'll kind of skip over there. The VLCN trade, this was from last week and then pushed up into the close, actually, from the end of last week. So, ended up making a nice little squeeze here this morning, but otherwise, a little flat. One of us had mentioned BIG was worth a look, says Warren, inside our live trading room. Too late now, I think. No, not at all. This is right near the highs, Warren. This is exactly what you would want to find at this point in the day. So you might think that it's going to be exhausted, and based off the volume it's trading right now, potentially. But this is like prime positioning, at least for the next hour here into the close. So, should we happen to see this continue to make higher lows and, perhaps hold over 24 as a support level, then this could be a nice trade. So BIG, I'm actually going to give this a good look. I'll put this on our radar, on our watch list. I don't know why I keep saying radar. All right, keep it going. Market's still flat right now as we're doing this meeting. BWV, this was a dud here for the most part. It actually was a nice squeeze off a 3, but for as much activity as we saw in pre-market, it popped at the open. It completely crashed after. So once it dies off, normally you write it off and you don't really look at it. Granted, I actually jumped in from 3. I had good timing on the entry, perhaps. I was waiting, and I just took one chance on it, and thankfully that was the chance to see it move up a bit. I still left a ton on the table. I wasn't expecting for this to run back up close to 350 here, so I got out at like 325, 330, just in that area, I believe, but ended up coming back down, died off after. Now, before this meeting started, I did see SMMT on Benzinga Pro, my screener there. Not doing a whole lot since, popped up just a little bit before, but for right now, I'll pass. I'll tell you, folks, we don't need to build too big of a list, do we? Don't need to build too big of a list. This might just be the one for us here. The MGAM just spiked back up from that 4405 level brilliantly, and we'll look to see if this can keep going. I would really want this to continue to hold over 420 coming up at least, and if it pops higher from this point, God bless. But let's see it begin to build support off of 420. All right, we got 8. Is an 8 sleep, is this? 8x8 ink, not 8 sleep. Ended up making a nice, slow, gradual move from the morning, but kind of slow right now. Listen, we're not going to find a lot on the gainer side here, so I'm just checking out everything else here at the bottom, but we're pretty much dipping into under 5% category here on this side, so we'll hop over to the losers list here in just a bit. Yeah, got nothing else really here in mind, just ETFs and just other kind of random stocks that we don't really normally see. All right. If there's anything else, let me know. But we'll hop over to the loser side. We got 3 good stocks on our watch list here so far, at least from the gainers list. LQDA. I saw Rich call this out earlier as it got halted like 3-4 times over. Ended up continuing to free fall. It's a lot more flat now compared to before. You might think that there's a chance for it to continue, as you know, you're not wrong with thinking that, but it really died off in the volume traded per minute. It's just obviously very flat now. So, maybe if it remains shortable on your broker, on your platform, keep it in mind like a side list stock. Checking it, keep it in mind for tomorrow morning more than anything. But we'll see if there's anything looking better as a short opportunity here. PLAB, you might say the same thing on this one, at least trading a little bit more volume per minute, a little bit more liquid of an order book, but it's pretty flat for the most part here since even 10:30. So, it's shortable, easy to borrow on my platform, but we'll see if there's anything looking better. All right, so Viru drop all day today. This is hard to borrow, but just wanted to show the short on this one for as much as it pumped up back like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. We knew it was going to drop off, but it became hard to borrow on my platform, so I didn't really focus on it as like a short trade. But boy, this thing got clobbered this morning in particular from 1650 essentially all the way down, like a 3.5 point short basically, or 3 point short for that matter. But hey, a little dead cat bounce, trying to squeeze back up a small bit here. How much more will it give us? I'm not too certain. So, it's volatile enough for me to say, hey, for you inside the live trading room here, you know who you are if you've been killing it on this Viru trade on the way up, at least from the last couple of weeks. Honestly, you know who you are. If you're locking in 50, 70-cent trades on this stock and you're posting it in the room, put it on your personal watch list. Absolutely. Perhaps there could be more left on this Viru, dead cat bounce here. So, I want to see if there's anything looking a little bit better. It's definitely a good side list stock at that. So again, if you did well on this trade over the last few weeks or couple weeks, it's good for you. But otherwise, let's see if there's anything looking better as a short here from the loser side. Got a lot of stocks that are definitely down more than like 5% that I didn't check out yet. Let me just go over to Benzinga Pro here in between. I was shorting AFRM earlier today. Did a pretty good job on AFRM short. Ended up taking like a loss or two after, like tiny. So I moved on. So I haven't checked it out since. But this was a really good drop from, obviously the market opened, but right from 23.50, then from 23.30, I ended up jumping in. So that was where I ended up shorting it. I got out mainly off of 22.90, but I was looking for the lower high and then the drop back down. So before the meeting started, took a couple tiny losses, move on. But AFRM, it's not really moving too great now. This was coming off bad earnings from Friday last week. Just wanted to take a look at that. I ended up taking a couple of losses on Shopify as well. It's been a really good day. Don't get me wrong, but it's not just all about wins here, folks. So I was looking for continuation on Shopify at the same time. In and out quick, just taking a -2 after that. It's like, all right, you know what? This clearly isn't making the move I want it to make. Move on. So that last trade was off of 31 here. So it goes to show it hasn't gone much of anywhere since. So yeah, Shopify right now, it's a good side list stock, but not a whole lot more to it than that. All right, here we go. MGAM right on cue, right off the 420 price. Did anyone jump in on this trade as we've been going through this meeting, folks? Anyone in on MGAM? Not out of the woods yet off 420, but we're starting to squeak up a little bit, right? It was great from 376 when we were initially calling it out across the afternoon. Obviously, the break over 4, but man, 405, strong level. And now 420, let's see it run. Let's see it run. We got to see it make a higher high soon. Actually, on this trade, it really has to make a nice snap over 430 here momentarily. On this trade, we got Anthony in, we got Charles in, Barbara in. All right, cool. And hopefully more, but either way, hopefully this 420 level looks to, really hold strong here. At this point, it started to move off it. Let's see a lot more of that move off of 420 going up. All right, folks, I'll tell you that I didn't really have anything from the losers list that we ended up putting on our watch list here so far. Let me just go through a couple of different trades here. Otherwise, from the side list, American Airlines, like kind of near the low, but not a whole lot happening there. My NEO trade, moved up a tiny bit, made that dead cat bounce going into the early afternoon. Not a whole lot more to it than that. What else we got? We had the cruise lines dropping off earlier this morning. That was a good short, actually. But, again, not a whole lot really happening there either. Just taking a look on Benzinga, not a whole lot otherwise on that side of things, and that's okay. Market dropped off, markets remain, or they look to remain pretty weak, but that doesn't necessarily mean that everything is going to be, dropping off and tanking. So, on days where we want to follow the market down, you want to see some really strong movement. Obviously, like we had from this morning and heading into the early afternoon, but since not a whole lot's happened. So, otherwise, we got 3 stocks on our watch list here at this point: the INAB, the MGAM, and the big trade. That's all we need so far, folks. I know that Rich will be on the mic in about 15 minutes, right at 3 p.m. Eastern time. We already posted, I believe, the Traders Talk workshop, the recording of our live Traders Talk workshop that we conducted this morning for all of us on YouTube, social media, Facebook Live, YouTube here. Just go right down to the link on the yellow banner. We ended up doing that for you folks maybe like a month ago. That's still on our YouTube channel, but otherwise we conduct a weekly workshop every Tuesday inside our live trading room. So if you wanted to be a part of that or even watch the recording of that from this morning, just go right down to the yellow link or yellow banner below right there and sign up. But for later, asking about the FTCH trade, asking if it's too slow. Recently it's been too slow. It's only up like 2% as well, so it's like a sideless stock otherwise. Remember, this time of the day, you want to follow stocks that are up that 5% or more, down that 5% or more, something that already made a bit of a move, not too extreme of a move, but something that remains strong in direction. So this remains strong in direction, but it's up 1% or 2%, so it's a good sideless stock at that. At the horn here, maybe a stock that's making a sharper move up right now, NERV. So this seems to be, providing a little bit more opportunity in terms of the moves that it makes, and it's making a nice spike back up right now. Well, we got room for one more here, perhaps, and I guess that'll be the NERV trade. But definitely, this is more of like a level 3 to 4 trade right now. And the more it pops at this pace, it's going to turn into a level 5. So, this is not for any of our newly enrolled students, and especially not for any of our new, trial members or VIP pass members. You might not like hearing that, but the last thing that myself and Fausto want you to do is to blow your money on a trade jumping in right place, wrong time. Easy to say it's popping now, but imagine getting in on this here, expecting continuation and not being prepared for the drop off after. So that's where I say, at least right now, as a trial member, a VIP pass member, you're here to learn. You're here to sit back, observe, not to say just watch the big guns go at it. No, study us, study the chat, read what we're doing, seeing that this is something that's possible, not just like on a fluke occasion, nerve popping right now, but day to day and hour by hour at that. We've been crushing it today, at least with, the call outs we've been making inside our live trading room. But otherwise, folks, nerve looks pretty strong for right now. So definitely I'll put this on our watch list here to wrap up. All right, so folks, you know where to find me on YouTube and Facebook Live, that is. So if you have any other questions, feel more than free to send over an email, even if you're not interested just yet in joining our live trading room. I got a couple of us that I need to write back to, actually. Otherwise, send over an email to josh@ctutrading.com. But otherwise, for all of us inside the live trading room right now, Anthony, Charles, Barbara, Leda, Warren, Renzo, John, and all of us just otherwise. Again, Rich will be on the mic at 3 p.m. I'm going to be on a coaching call with one of our students. And then with that, I may be back in the chat by 3:30. I'll talk to you all then. Take care.
Become a Cyber Group member today. Just click the link below and receive all these amazing products and a world of knowledge for just $9.